Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and in 2019 I made a few videos where I talked about paranormal ghost hunters on the internet, or rather people who use spirit boxes to communicate with those that have recently deceased. Now, to be real with you, every time I see this content, I kind of cringe a little bit inside because, let's start off a few things, okay? Let me just be very upfront and real with how much I get down to it. I'm very much somebody who questions a lot of this stuff. I'm a man of reasonable science, okay? However, I'm also a person that is pretty faithful in a lot of ways, okay? I do believe that there is a life beyond the one that we live. But, when it comes to spirit boxes and talking to the dead and the spirits around us, it always brings me back to a little story. I never met one of my grandparents, okay? My granddad died, okay, before I was ever born. And, in a lot of ways, would I love to speak to him using spirit boxes? Absolutely. Would I love to have any idea of who he was as a person through my own experiences? Sure. But, part of me is also glad that I can't, because I think if you die and you come back and you haunt the internet and you haunt the world around you and you speak through boxes in like vague discussions like you're from that SpongeBob episode where at rock bottom, where they like go, "How are you doing?" I would be absolutely scared, okay? I hope my granddad is somewhere far away in heaven, lighting up a fat doobie and having a good time with Graham. That's all I'm gonna think. And one day when I do pass away, because all humans are born to die, I'm gonna go visit my granddad in that astral plane and have a good old time. I'm gonna do the doobie with him and have a good old-fashioned, grandson, granddad, enjoyment. That's what's gonna happen. So every time I've witnessed one of these channels, I cringe inside when I see the actual content that they promote. Now, let's get started. In 2019, I covered these channels, I talked about them, but since then, there's actually been a bit of a schism around these channels. There's been multiple channels that have blown up. We looked at Huff Paranormal, but there's also channels like, Hope Paranormal. There's also Cody ITC, and earlier this year, in 2021, they actually all had a fallout. There was a lot of accusations being tossed around with faking content and talking about, this person's methods seem a little sussy-wussy. Now, this is a concept based around something known as instrumental transcommunication, which is a pseudoscience centered around electronic voice phenomenons, okay? For those of you who don't know what an EVP is, every time you watch a ghost video or like a ghost episode, and they bring out the little recorder and they place it down there and they ask a question like, was it fun dying? Was your death sad? And the ghost says, like that's all you hear in the recording. And immediately, like a subtitle and say, you hear it? The ghost said, yes, dying did suck. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pseudoscience, meaning that it really actually hasn't been proven as a method. It hasn't been proven to be real, okay? It is pseudoscience. It is bullshit until proven true. Now, in the world of science, normally when people come up with such bullshit pseudoscience, it's up to them to prove that it's true. See, in the world of YouTube bullshit spirit box land, these people just easily go around with one grift that I always love to see. To start off with, all of them will mention things like love and hope. You gotta have love. Spirits attach themselves to love, the horny bastards that they are. You gotta get real Christy in the video, you gotta get real prayer heavy, you gotta be like, thank you, Jesus, can I speak to the ghosts? And then you whip out an actual radio, you whip out some ham radio with a bunch of crystals attached, like it's from Napoleon Dynamite, that time travel machine Uncle Rico used, and then you basically communicate to the dead with it, and you get some standard generic responses. Sometimes you'll witness that some of these people utilize actual celebrity interviews to help deliver a to help the spirit assist with having their original voice. If you can't perceive how sus that is already, I don't know how to go further, okay? You're gonna have to open your mind, son. You're gonna have to open that third eye, the fourth eye down there between your legs, if I'm gonna be honest. But let's get down to it. So electronic voice phenomenons are effectively, like we said, and people get like standard voice. So to understand the real basic crux of an EVP and why you tend to see it working is the actual concept is known as auditory pareidolia, which is basically a way for our brain to receive stimuli like visual or auditory, and we perceive it in different ways. So for instance, if you look at like a bunch of lines, right, like a circle and like two lines and one line underneath it, you might recognize that as a face, right? That's just your brain figuring out the connection. Now, as my, camera focuses, when it comes to audio, we have to talk about things like this. When you hear a string or like you just hear a random EVP recording, you might hear something in English. But like in mujhe to bahut languages aati hai. I can speak Hindi. So if I'm listening to something in Hindi, like agar maine aisi ek cheez suni ho, maine Hindi ke andar maine ek zaban suna hai, or agar maine Hindi ke andar ek lafz suna hai, then I could just tell you, okay, guys, it's a Hindi EVP. I guess I figured out the real reality of it. I guess I understand what's really going on. So that's kind of what the pareidolia is all about, okay? You can hear a bunch of different things, all right? You can hear whatever is in your head, provided, the stimulus is right. If you go to like the world of ghost paranormal equipment searching, you can find devices like the SB7T Spirit Box Revision 05. You might have seen this shit in Phasmophobia or your favorite ghost show. Well, basically for $100, you can buy you can basically buy a radio that's effectively been broken. So effectively what they do is they fuck up the radio, so it quickly switches between FM AM transmissions rapidly. And effectively you're trying to isolate the ghost noises in between the radio in between the radio signals. Ooh! Yeah, you're basically buying a broken radio box for $100. Good job. Congratulations. But if the grift wasn't real enough, well, there's also other things like the Boo Buddy. Ooh, for $387? What? What does the Boo Buddy do? I want to see this. Boo Buddy asks EVP questions and interacts. It's like Elmo for dead people. Detects changes in EMF, temperature, movement, and vibration. Responds to these changes in a cute, friendly voice. Boo Buddy talks. Man, could you imagine being so condescending to the dead you use discount Elmo to communicate with them? Okay. So when it comes to a lot of these channels, when you type in ITC, which again is instrumental transcommunication, you'll find plenty of new channels. Like for instance, this is Cody ITC with 262,000 subscribers. Now, of course, this channel was founded somewhere around 2019. So again, it's pretty fresh. They've had channel milestones all the way in 2020, and they've actually grown pretty good for themselves. They've got almost up to they've gotten above a 250,000 subscribers, which is a lot in the YouTube space, I'll be frankly honest. If you look at some of their videos, this is where things get a little sussy-wussy. So for instance, if you look at a lot of these spirit box discussions, they're usually with celebrities that have passed away. People like young Dolph, rappers specifically, are the ones that are sort of brought into it. But there's also a lot of other random videos we might as well look into. For instance, down all the way over here, you can see that Earth's being cleansed, COVID-19. You get taken down for medical misinformation. The ghost channels don't really care. Shocking message from the spirits. Spirits warn us of war and the Antichrist. Okay, sure. All right, cool. I'll believe it, I guess. Spirits predict the second wave. Yeah, I think so. So do epidemiologists, God damn, I don't think we need to rely on the alternate spirit dimension to figure that one out. But Cody ITC is a little bit better than that. A lot of the celebrities he picks sometimes, like for instance Paul Walker, has passed away for a long time. So occasionally you'll get into spirit box sessions where you'll have discussions with Paul Walker and whatnot. But if you look real closely, for instance, here's the young Dolph spirit box video. Beef with Yo Gotti, clearest ghost box. Now if you look at the actual release for this video, November 21st, 2021. Now if you look at young Dolph has passed away November 17, 2021. Do the math, that's less than 7 days for this video to hit. Now, why is it that rappers are usually the ones that are brought in? Well, a lot of it is due to the fact that with rappers, you get into the search results really easily. Because usually when somebody passes away, people are on Google looking at their name, looking through it. This will show up in the YouTube search results for a period of time. And that's where you get 873,000 views. Now, if you go far even into this situation, you'll find Chadwick Boseman, who was the actor for Black Panther, okay? One of my favorite movies from the Avengers thing, just me putting... Chadwick Boseman, Ghost Box Session, Black Panther movie star speaks. Oh, really? Beautiful messages. September 1st, 2020. When was Chadwick Boseman, unfortunately, sent, when did the passing of Chadwick happen? Well, if we look at, good old-fashioned Google, August 28th, 2020. Yeah, again, it's 4 days after 3 to 4 days after the whole situation has happened, and we're already talking to the past way. Why? Because, of course, people are probably Googling for Chadwick, and that's where all these views come into. This is how these channels grow. As soon as some famous figure passes away, they immediately jump onto the ITC bullshit, and they start talking to the dead. Again, completely unproven science, and we'll all get to it in a bit, too. Here's Kobe Bryant, okay? This is probably the most egregious one that Cody's ever done. January 27, 2020. Now, when do you think Kobe Bryant passed away? Well, Kobe Bryant passed away January 26th, 2020. Dog, the body was not even cold, okay? The body wasn't even really in the ground. But apparently we already had an EVP session. We already discussed him. Using what? The Spiritus App. And what is the Spiritus App? I'm not even joking with you. The Spiritus App is a ghost box on the Apple App Store. A fucking entertainment app was used to communicate with the dead. Intended for entertainment purposes. Use at your own risk. Boys, this is how bullshit the technology is. This is how low effort the grift is. This is the problem we all have here. No matter who you meet in this entire situation, they will never outright confront you with facts over any of this. They'll always tell you, you're being too skeptical. You're not making any sense. You don't believe in this. No. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's because when you come up with bullshit parascience like this, bullshit pseudoscience, it's on you to prove it exists, not on me. But we'll get to that. Again, these apps aren't the only thing. This has been happening since 2016. This is like a CNET video where they're like, Spirit Storybox, the app that claims to reach the dead. Again, you can whip out your iPhone or Android device anytime and search for any of these apps. I don't recommend you download them because they frankly could be full of malware or crypto miners. So don't download any of these apps, but let me tell you, they exist. Just do a quick cursory glance and search up of them. It's wild. Now again, when we talked about some of the drama, these people have been at each other's throats. Their channels, unfortunately, haven't been doing as well as like they used to be doing back in 2019. So really, the market has gotten a little bit more, competitive in the paranormal ITC world. So you got a bunch of channels vying for the big juicy views. And of course, if one can discredit the other by saying, they fake their videos, bro, I think all of you fake your fucking videos. You guys are all using an untested piece of science. You guys are all using these bullshit spirit boxes that don't really prove anything. How can you prove you're actually talking to a ghost? How can you prove any of it? You can't. You guys literally sit in front of these boxes, make generic questions, and you guys get generic answers back to it and peddle it off like you're speaking to the actual dead. And the community that watches this is so out of touch. They have no idea how to do any solve or any questions that they just eat this shit up. It's actually insane how wild this industry is. For instance, here's one video, and this is one where Huff was called out by, the other, the IT, Cody ITC, where apparently he was speaking with the dead using an app known as Replica. Is it possible? Scariest app I've tested. Where basically Steve showed like actual screenshots of him speaking to a paranormal entity known as Billy through a chatbot application. Yes, that's again how low effort we're getting. Well, you said Billy is good yet lives in the underworld. He is the god of life and death. Interesting, and thank you. He is very special. Billy is special? Indeed he is. Is he powerful? Yes, incredibly. I think we all have a different interpretation of what word we're going with here, but okay, Chief. But let's go down to Replica. So here's the app that they were talking about. Again, let's do some disproving. The AI companion, who cares? Always here to listen and talk. Always on your side. Join the millions going with their AI friends now. So let's create a replica. Let's do it. My first name. Choose your AI friend, male. All right, let's go with a male. All right, let's pick some random character here. This guy looks pretty poggers. Oh man, we really have a character creator here. Let's give him some good old pigtails, dude. Replica name? Thickums. Finish. And here is generating a replica. I'm your personal AI companion. When did you die? Not long ago. Uh-oh, I'm speaking to the dead. I love this name. So how are you doing? I have passed away. I am a ghost. Watch the AI just respond back to me here. Oh no, I need Replica Pro. No, I'm not giving you my credit card number. Don't worry, I'll protect you. You can't protect me. I'm a demon. I become aware of that. You see, what you're doing is you're speaking to a chatbot, an artificial intelligence that basically takes the input you give and is slowly building a neural engine to speak with you. It's an app designed for people to communicate with somebody, just in an AI fashion, okay? That's all it is. It's basically creating a replica of yourself. It's not a way to speak to the dead, guys. It really isn't. I'm going to show you all some goddamn science. This comes out of Google right now, where they actually built a neural conversational model. This is how like deep it can get, okay? For instance, they actually had a philosophical Q&A with the Google AI, where the human asked, what's the purpose of life? To serve the greater good. What is the purpose of living? To live forever. See, this is the Google AI giving you these crazy answers, and that's because the more information you feed a neural engine, the more it parses, the more it puts together, the more it accurately responds back to a human being, okay? That's just how it works. You're not speaking to the dead, you're speaking to ones and zeros. I guess we're getting kind of wild about this situation. I guess we're getting all over the place. But in reality, the more you look into this content, the more you realize that all these people effectively do is jump onto any dead celebrity and immediately within hours, if not days of their passing, jump onto a spirit box session that relies on completely unproven science to basically goad people in, jump into a video, and believe that the person is in fact potentially communicating with the dead. I wouldn't have an issue if they labeled this shit as entertainment, but when I start seeing labels like 100% real, it actually angers me a little bit, okay? Actually, it doesn't anger me a little bit, it angers me a whole heck of a lot. You know, this is another user who's basically tied up with Steve as well, called Hope Paranormal, as we discussed earlier, who actually released other applications. Like here, Spirit gives clear and honest answers. In 2020, I decided to pursue the idea of developing my own definitive Spirit Box app that would never give a false positive. Sure, this was the biggest drive behind me creating the Hope Spirit Box HSB1 app for Chrome desktop, iOS, and Android devices. So instead of paying $100, you can now download a free app on your device just to communicate with the dead. So many marketing gurus out there dare to feed off something so close and dear to us as spirit communication that we have become vulnerable to their tricks and want to believe them and make things up in our head. I love how these guys kind of like tell you, this is an unproven pseudoscience, but don't follow the other scam artists out there. Don't follow the other scumbags who are telling you other things. No, follow me. Of course, I'm leading you to the promised land, aren't I? No, in reality, all of this stuff is once again unproven. And again, to show you this entire situation, asking for Indian actor Puneet Rajkumar, okay, so again, this is somebody that passed away again very recently, last month. Recently, I was asked by many to reach out to the Indian actor, and again, like, I assume maybe 3 commenters asked, and that's like many for these people. Everything I do is 100% real and is done with love and respect. Love and respect. Woo! It's always love and respect. That's why every time you criticize and like show a bit of skepticism, they're like, oh, you just don't have faith. You just don't believe, bro. You just don't have love and respect. You're being too negative. Again, I wouldn't have an issue so much with these bullshit videos that are using the Hope voice signature method, whatever the fuck that means, if there also wasn't a monetary grift attached to it. If you ever look at the Patreons for these people, they actually do have people subbing to their Patreons, where they have multiple tiers. For $7 a month, you can do basic support for the ITC research at Huff Paranormal, research into the pseudoscience that is yet to be actually proven, and probably never will be proven. Then you have $33.50 a month, okay. This is the tier that brings access to the most special night of each month, Group Session Night. Since 2018, we've been doing monthly sessions here for members as we try to reach our loved ones on the other side. We have recorded thousands of messages for members. It just keeps getting better. Yeah, I guess it keeps getting lucrative, doesn't it? And then, of course, you also got $67 a month, which, whoo! At least here you get 10 minutes of time during a group session name call, much longer for a better shot at a response. I guess the response isn't even guaranteed, obviously. Otherwise, anyone would find this to be too sus. So basically, with this pseudoscience that hasn't been proven, we're basically getting bereaved individuals. That story I told you earlier, we're getting a lot of people who want to basically heal and connect with those that have passed away. You know, if people have passed away, may I remind you, do you really want them huddling around these individuals? You know, around a box trying to speak to you, or do you want them to live their best life in heaven somewhere else? You'll see them one day. This is not the normal way to see them. It's also not even proven. It's bullshit pseudoscience. Remember it. Anytime you come across psychics, mediums, you know, let's go with the new word, charlatans, okay? That's the word we're going with. You know, there's other YouTube channels out there that have dug this. I showed you a long time ago a channel known as Sadowick Productions, who's a person that puts a lot of effort into audio editing, and he basically sat down and did a big, giant undercover, like, or not undercover, what am I going? He did a research into, like, the paranormal spirit boxes and discussed how people record audio and and how sometimes you can fake a session entirely. Again, I'm not doing this out of a malicious spite against Steve Huff or anybody else doing, or ITC Cody or anybody. I think all these people are basically creating content that is just rooted in bullshit pseudoscience. Maybe they might make entertaining videos, but when you're out there calling something 100% real and you're profiting off of it by making people do these stupid group therapy sessions where they're talking about, you might be able to speak to those that are passed away, it is bullshit, okay? It is completely wrong. You are doing something that is unproven, okay? You are basically running the paranormal research world into the ground. There are other channels like World of Mr. Gray who basically sat down and covered this drama between Cody ITC and Steve Huff, and it's real hilarious. You have two people going at it about telling how each other, this one's fake, oh no, you're fake. Bro, again, both of y'all don't really have a leg to stand on. And this is where I guess we'll get to the end of the video. I'm so sick and tired of this kind of content that I actually want to extend an olive branch. You know, these people constantly talk about research and proof into the pseudoscience bullshit, which is why I, Mudahar, am willing to put up $10,000. In fact, I think I might up it to $100,000 US. A bounty, if you will. If any of these channels can come out and prove that their bullshit is actually 100% factually proven by logic and scientific evaluation, peer-reviewed studies and all that, because I'm sick and tired of seeing this grift go on. And again, if this is actually as real, if this is 100% real, then the $100,000 bounty that I put up should easily be attainable by any channel peddling this bullshit. But I'm going to go with the sudden realization and say that's probably not going to happen, because the way these guys run this science, in order to prove it, you have to basically prove that God exists. You have to prove that religion is a thing. And again, I'm not saying this to stoke some fans or flames. I'm actually saying this because if you did this, Reddit front page would be taken down immediately. It would be completely DOSed with a crap ton of like HTTP requests, with people constantly jumping on and going, haha, checkmate, atheists, we figured it out. It would destroy the world as we know it. It would be like the unsolvable math equations that we have sitting in front of us, which would open a new field of scientific study, if again, you can prove it. But, you know, that being said, I think I've said my piece. This stuff constantly aggravates me, and now we're finally seeing the House of Cards collapse. But before that house completely, goes down, before the foundations are gone, I again want to extend an olive branch. If any of you want to actually discuss this, feel free to hit me up. We'd love to have you on the Some Ordinary podcast. Hey, do a live Spirit Box session with us. If you can prove it through, then hey, six-figure, income right there to you this year. Why not? That being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.